more videos on this topic. And if there's any kind of combinations or protocols that you would like to know more about, or maybe see some before after pictures, just comment below. I got it. What's up guys? Today we are going to take yet another tour on the subforum trustless on Reddit to take a look at what you guys can expect when you're using the big three for hair loss protocols. So before we start the video for real, I noticed that the big three, as we call them on Reddit, on trustless, the subforums, they actually differ from person to person. So it's not like it is the same always wherever you go and wherever you ask and whom you ask. And if you're asking if someone has used the big three, it can actually vary a lot from person to person what they believe the so-called big three actually is. So what I've done today is that I've collected some of the combinations on the big three that people use, and we are going to take a look at how they work individually and see if there's some resemblance in them and what you can expect when using the different combinations. So what I usually see in here is a combination of something like an androgen inhibitor. That could be Finasteride, Dutasteride, IU58841 or something like that in the androgen inhibitor category. Then it is very common for me to see something like a stimulator. That could be with dental that I like myself. It could be Minoxidil or something like even Nesol shampoo. And lastly, I see something like a mechanical stimulating effect or whatever we call it. This is usually derma rolling, microneedling. Even sometimes I've seen scalp massages being used here as part of the big three. Although we won't be looking at scalp massages for any kind of purpose in this video though. So knowing this, I wanted to give you guys an idea of how well each of these different methods work and prove that there's no one fits all solution to your problems, and it might differ from person to person. So the first guy we have here is sharing his progression over 9 months. He has been using 1.25 milligrams of Finasteride daily, then also 1 milliliter of Minoxidil daily, and Nesol shampoo 2 to 4 times weekly. He also explains here that he has a vitamin stack, but unless you're in some kind of a deficit, I don't think it is worth mentioning here. If you are in a vitamin deficit, you should see a physician or doctor or something like that, because then you are in a whole other world of problems, and this is not just your hair. So we won't be mentioning his stack in here. But you can actually see that he took a fresh haircut picture at the end just to show how it looked when it was trimmed down, which I think is of pretty great value to us in here. So we can evaluate how well he actually had a regrowth over 9 months. Then if we also look at the pictures next to each other, we can definitely see a great improvement with this big three in conjunction with each other. So the next guy we have is also on Finasteride, Nesol and a Minoxidil combination. It is worth mentioning a few things that I also noticed on his progression photos. Now these are that since it is 2.5 years since he started, he has been lowering his DHT for such a long period of time that it also made a few other changes to his body. So if we actually look at the before picture, it is clear that he had some androgen issues in his skin also, which leads to blowout, pimples or dermatitis or whatever we call it. Usually you can get an anti-androgen skin cream for that kind of problems, but sure, if you lower your DHT and you have acne problems, it might also help relieve some of the issues with acne or bad skin. So not only to mention did he get his skin fixed, but he also got a decent amount of hair density back. Now his protocol were 1.25 milligrams of Finasteride, 1 milliliter of Minoxidil and Nesol 2 times weekly. More or less the same thing as the guy we just saw before, and the results are very outstanding. He also states lower in the comment section that he is going to use derma rolling from now on because it has gotten such a great reputation on trustless. So the next guy we have been reported to be using finasteride at 1 milligram a day, minoxidil at 1 ml a day, and then dermarolling instead of the nizoral combination. So he didn't state how often he would be using the dermaroller. He didn't tell about what depth it was going, but nevertheless he has some crazy improvements for only 4 months of doing this. So lastly, what we have here is a guy who are using microneedling, nizoral, minoxidil and finasteride for 100 days straight. This is more or less 3 months he has been using this. So what we can see here is that he has been using not the big 3 as the other guys do, but actually something like the big 4. This is more or less when he combined all the different variants of the big 3 and just took whatever were missing in the other protocols and put it in there. And I guess he ended up getting at least just as good protocol as some of the others. Now it is a bit extensive to use all the methods in there, but we wouldn't know if he wouldn't have gotten such a good improvement in his hair density if he hadn't used it. All we can say from here is that he used all 4 of them. He had some great density coming back to his hair, and it shows that you can mix and match them as you would prefer yourself and just find something that fits you and your way of living and whatever you like to do. So guys, there you have it. These are 4 great examples of different hair loss protocols that you can use. All of them were labeled the big 3 and they vary a lot. Personally, I would say you will need a DHT blocker or an androgen blocker of some sort. You will need something like microneedling, at least I would advise you do that. And lastly, with dental minoxidil, that is more or less up to you. But it definitely proves that you can take whatever you like, mix it up, have it work, or just try out something completely different if it suits you. Now, if you want to see more progress photos, I have put a lot of links down below in the description for a lot of other candidates for this video, but I didn't want to make it too long. So guys, if you like this kind of content, just comment below. I'll make some more videos on this topic. And if there's any kind of combinations or protocols that you would like to know more about, or maybe see some before after pictures, just comment below. And guys, until next time, cheers.